Hi, I'm Kendra with Where's the Moon Astrology, and today I'm talking about Pisces. Pisces is the mutable water sign, meaning that they are changeable, adaptable, easily shift with changing circumstances, and that they are very sensitive. They're more in tune with their emotions than they are the material realm or the intellectual realm. All the water signs are very emotionally in tune and also very intuitive. In Pisces, you have somebody who is extremely empathetic, somebody who can really pick up on what's around them, on what you're feeling. It's almost like they can really just tap into the energy that's around them and make sense of it on an emotional level. They can really feel other people's pain, they can really feel other people's discomfort, and it pains them. They can just feel what you're feeling, and they can kind of internalize that. It's very hard for them to be around negative people because of this. They're very, they're just like an emotional sponge, kind of. It's really hard for them to be around negativity because they absorb that, and it'll be what they're around that's negative they can kind of take that on and feel what's not theirs to feel. In Pisces, you also have somebody who is very sensitive, somebody who is very sensitive to criticism, somebody who's very sensitive to just can really easily hurt their feelings, actually. They're very emotional people, and they can really take things to heart, be easily offended, or take things personally. Like, I know a lot of Pisces who will take something that makes them feel discomfort, and everybody does this to an extent, but if it makes them feel discomfort, and you did this thing that made them feel negative for whatever reason, they will take that and interpret it to mean something deeper than what it really meant. You might have just been not really thinking about whatever it is that you did and just been a little careless. But they take it to mean you intentionally did this thing to them, you intentionally wounded them, and it's because you don't care about them. I don't mean that as like a negative thing, or I would have attributed it as one of their darker traits. They're just sensitive and they get their feelings hurt easily. Pisces is also the embodiment of spirituality. They're a very spiritual sign. They can tap into, sort of like Aquarius, they can tap into that collective unconscious, the thing that connects all of us. They're very just spiritual people, and they tend to kind of transcend the physical realm in that way. Whereas, the air signs might transcend this physical realm through intellectualism, Pisces can really transcend the physical realm in an emotional, spiritual kind of way. They get feelings of well-being from, meditation, things that put them in, things that put them alone. Pisces is also very kind of a loner sign, not this the way that they're like super independent like Aquarius or Aries or Sagittarius or anything, but they can be kind of a loner sign in the sense they need a lot of time to themselves. They need a lot of time to recharge and to be in that spirituality, to really connect with themselves. That's going to be really important for Pisces. They're going to really need that alone time, that time to recharge, and it's entirely for their emotional well-being. They really can't function unless they have that alone time and a little bit of an escape from the world. Pisces is also an escapist sign. They do things to escape their reality, and because Pisces is so sensitive, they are keenly aware of the world's suffering. They can take on things that are happening around the world, the bombings in Syria, things like that will really affect Pisces. They're going to really take the weight of the world on their shoulders because of that sensitivity. And because of that, they really need an escape. And a healthy escape for a Pisces would be that alone time, that meditation. A lot of Pisces turn a different way with that escapism, which I'll talk about when we get to the darker traits. But Pisces do need a lot of time to themselves, and they need a lot of time in meditation. They need a lot of time just being alone and escaping the pains of this world. Pisces is also very mysterious. They tend to project this just image of mystery. They don't really... Pisces can be a bit of an airhead, and I mean that in a loving way. Pisces can be a little bit of an airhead, and they don't always even know what they want. They don't even know what they don't often, I can't say it without sounding bad. Sometimes Pisces doesn't seem to really know what's going on around them, much less really know themselves. And because they take on so much of everybody else's stuff, it can be hard for Pisces to understand where they end and another person begins. So there's a real air of mystery about them, simply because a lot of times they don't even know themselves. So how are you supposed to know them? How are you supposed to know what's going on with them if they don't even really know? You know what I mean? And because of that spirituality mixed with that mysterious vibe, they can have this kind of mystical edge to them, this whole mystical persona going on. Pisces is also the master of illusion. And this can be negative, but the most wonderful thing about Pisces is that when you're in their presence, their modern ruler is Neptune. Neptune is the planet that kind of shows you what you want to see. It's the planet of, rose-colored lenses and disillusion and just, breaking down boundaries. Neptune can really make you see things the way you want to see them. So with that being associated with Pisces, what can happen when you're with a Pisces or somebody with prominent Pisces in their chart or Neptune in their chart? You can really just look at them and see what you want to see. And I don't really know, I think Pisces also, because they're so intuitive, they can kind of, on an intuitive, unconscious level, they understand what it is that you're looking for, and they project that. So it's kind of hard to say whether it's them projecting what you want to see, or it's you just choosing to see what you want to see when you look at them. But whatever it is, you do tend to see them. They can be like the mirror of Erised. That's like my favorite analogy for Neptune and Pisces. They can be the mirror of Erised, like from Harry Potter. You see your heart's desire when you look at them. They're just projecting like your innermost desires, it seems like. Pisces, and this goes back to the mysterious thing, they can be really elusive and hard to pin down. They're what do you call it? Their little emblem thingy. They're represented by the fish. So with them being represented by the fish, fish are flowing, they're moving, they get away from you really quickly. That's what Pisces is like. They can just kind of get away from you, which is it's weird because there's this whole kind of dichotomy with Pisces that they can be really clingy. Because they're emotional and they're sensitive and they're a water sign, they can be really clingy, and yet also really out of touch. It's really strange because the Pisces energy, because of that sensitivity, that emotional nature that they have, they can be really clingy and really just want all of your time, all of your attention, and they just can kind of float away. And it's hard to see what's really going on with them, because with somebody who's all cling, it's you kind of know where you stand with them, but with Pisces, it's like you get some clinginess, and then you get some, I need my alone time, or I'm just going to disappear, whatever. They're hard to figure out. Now for the dark side of Pisces. Now I touched on this a little bit when I talked about their sensitivity and their empathetic nature. Pisces can really take on the weight of the world, like I said. And they often don't know how to protect themselves. They can really just lose themselves in other people's problems. They can hide away from the world, because this is really more something they do to themselves, but they can hide away from the world because they're so sensitive and they take on so much on an emotional level that they can't handle it. And they will just isolate or just beat themselves up, have like a guilt complex. That can be something that Pisces does to themselves. And here's something that they do both to themselves and to everybody else. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Pisces has a victim complex. This is like classic with Pisces. They have this victim complex. It can get to the point with them to where they are actually very selfish, which is the antithesis of everything that Pisces stands for. Pisces is supposed to be this all-encompassing love, this sacrificial thing, like, the messianic complex, the the Christ embodiment or whatever. But what you often get with Pisces is somebody who is so sensitive and so wrapped up in their own emotions and their own personal drama that you can literally be bleeding to death and they'll look at you and say, what about my feelings? I mean, it can get ridiculous. Another negative quality of Pisces is because of that escapism, that sensitivity that causes them to want to not live in reality, that they can be really deluded and self-deluded. And here's something that I've noticed about Pisces is I post all these memes and things, and I'll criticize each and every one of the signs. I put out these meme sets where everybody gets criticized. And Pisces is the only one that I've had to ban from my page because they're arguing with me and they're telling me I don't understand Pisces if I think that they have anything wrong with them at all. Like Pisces can really get to the point where they think that they are blameless because they know themselves enough to know that they really do have that sweet, empathetic, caring nature, and they really can't see anything else that might be wrong with them. And you get all these other signs that are like, haha, guilty, but Pisces no. Like, I mean, you know, I'm not want to make blanket statements or anything. Not all Pisces are going to be that way, but I've noticed Pisces more than any other sign just really cannot handle the truth about themselves. Also, they choose sometimes to live in this delusion that they've created for themselves, or a fantasy world, because it's better than real life. It's better than feeling the pain of real life. So Pisces can actually, and this is part of their whole delusion, the whole delusion bit, they can actually make themselves think that something is going to be a reality, and it actually could be a reality, but instead of ever pursuing that in order to make it a reality, they will live in this fantasy land of this perfect life that they've created. And they can do this in relationships, you know, they just have this, you know, perfect relationship that they envision, and they'll never make the move to have that relationship, even though the person is standing there right in front of them wanting that relationship with them. They won't make the move to have that relationship. They just really get caught up in this fantasy land. And it's really hard to even know how they feel about you, because they could really have some intense feelings for you and you would just never know, because they'd rather live in this fantasy of you than have the real you. Another negative aspect of that, the escapist tendencies that they have, Pisces has a reputation for getting involved in heavy drug use, in any kind of drug use. And it doesn't even have to be drugs necessarily. It can be, you know, addictions of any kind, addictions to relationships, addictions to, you know, drugs. It's different than Scorpio in the sense that Scorpio can just get kind of obsessed. Scorpio does it because they're really intensely focused on that thing, and Pisces seems to do it more because they're trying to escape something. They're trying to escape the real world. They're trying to escape the negative feelings associated with reality. So, yeah, they can actually get involved in drug addictions, you know, alcohol addictions, anything that helps them get out of their head a little bit. And I understand this because, you know, I have some prominent Neptune stuff going on in my chart, so I tend to do things to shelter myself from reality. I do start drinking, and it's never become like a huge problem, but I do start drinking. If I'm going through a tough time, you know, I'll just take a shot. I'll take a couple shots, whatever. Substances can just become a band-aid for the boo-boo that is life for Pisces, or for Neptune stuff. Another really difficult aspect of Pisces is that they can actually be deceitful. They're the masters of illusion, and they're the masters of delusion, and they can actually lie. They'll outright lie to you, or make you think things are going to be a certain way, and they're just really not that way at all. Neptune and Pisces stuff can really lie, and a lot of Pisces don't like to admit this about themselves, but there's a certain deceitfulness that comes with prominent or unevolved prominent Neptune and Pisces placements. They can really just create this illusion not just for themselves but for you, and they can do it by projecting a certain image that's inconsistent with reality, or they can just literally lie to your face, bold-faced lie to you with their words. And another negative trait is that they tend to do this ghosting thing with that whole elusive quality that they have, which is just part of their nature, and the elusive quality itself is not necessarily to be criticized, because sometimes you can communicate with them and you can say, hey, I really need you to be a little more direct, and they will realize that you need that from them, and you can work with them. But they do this ghosting thing. If you are a part of their reality that they don't want in their reality, for a hot second, for whatever reason, either that they're just not that into you, or you're causing them discomfort in some way, whatever it is, they can just decide, I don't want to deal with this, part of that escapism, and literally just leave you hanging, stop talking to you, just ghost you. It's like Pisces invented ghosting. Anyway, that was my video on Pisces. I really hope you enjoyed it. Again, I do offer chart readings. Please check the link in the description of this video. I would love to do a reading for you. I do all kinds of readings, birth chart readings, relationship readings, solar and lunar return readings. Yeah, I would just love to do a reading for you, so just reach out. Have a great day.